guess what Mum's doing? Turning out Ronzo room at this time of night. We'll get it.
Hello, Glenda.
Hello, Mrs. Ling. Come in.
Thank you.
Your Auntie Marian.
Yeah.
Hello. I could have rung, but as I was almost passing...
It's always lovely to see you. Do you want to take your coat off?
No, I haven't got time, but I've got some good news for you. You'll get the official letter in a day or two. We've heard from Woodbury Hospital.
Kevin.
We've been accepted, then?
You're to go for a preliminary interview with the great man himself.
When? I can't believe it. I thought we'd have to wait months.
Next week. You're very lucky to have got to the top of the list so quickly.
Well, this is it, then? They wouldn't string us along if they're just messing about.
No? Well, next Tuesday, then. You'll get the exact time and place in the letter from the hospital.
I can't believe it. It's all going to happen at last.
It calls for a drink. Sherry?
No, not for me. I must go. We'll leave the celebration till late and then make it champagne on me.
Right,
All
an
right?
honour to them.
Thanks ever so much for coming round.
Well, who could resist being the bearer of good news? Kat still at work?
No, she's upstairs doing out one of the bedrooms.
Oh.
Had a bit of an upset tonight.
Oh?
I expect you saw it in the paper.
Oh, Lord, yes, of course. The report of the trial.
Yeah, we thought best to leave her to it.
Yes. Look, I'll try and look in tomorrow night again, have a chat with her.
Oh, I wish you would.
Yes, I'll try. OK.
Thanks.
Be thinking of you on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy, then?
What do you think?
I'll have another of these, darling. Thank you. Hello. You're going to a party?
No, I am not going to a party. Gin and tonic, please, Mandy. You are the 5th person to ask me if I'm going to a party. The next person who asks me is going to get a bar stool around their heads.
I'm sorry. You look dressed as though you were going to a party.
I'm dressed for a disaster. And a disaster is what has happened, hasn't it?
I don't wish to talk about it.
Do you think I want to?
I think I owe you an abject apology.
And I think I owe you an even abject one.
I've never heard of that word before, abject. Still, my experience is very limited.
My experience, like yours, Valerie, is not exactly limited. But thank you, Mandy. An hour ago, a twit of a counsellor failed to respond to it one bit. By the name of Norman Berry. Oh, he was frightful. Even worse than Sergeant Hawes.
I wouldn't say worse, just on a par.
No, I shouldn't say worse either. I mean, she's not so bad, really.
How do you mean not so bad, Jill?
Well, she's got problems.
And she confided in you?
She's chums with Sharon, and she's confided in Sharon. And then Sharon heard me binding on about her, and she confided in me.
In confidence, Jilly?
Oh, don't call me Jilly. No, it's not in confidence. There's nothing to hide. See, it's her mother. She's been very ill, which has been for years. Arthritis. Very painful.
Has been for years, you say. How many years?
I don't know. She's been waiting for an operation, though, Sharon says, for, well, a couple of years. Anyway, she had a fall, and she just lay helpless on the floor until Sergeant Hawes got home.
A couple of years, you say? Well, then she won't have to wait much longer, will she?
I suppose it's all your money, J. Henry. You don't know about the waiting list on the National Health. Well, according to Sharon, it could be a couple of years or more. Oh, thanks. I want to see you in the office.
I'm not yet on duty.
Not about your duties.
Darling, you coming back?
Not sure.
Well, if you don't, we'll be in the dining room after we finish this one. Val? You heard that?
About the policewoman's mother?
Yes. I think we ought to start digging, don't you?
Yes, I think we should.
There was one particular moment I looked across and she was kissing you on the cheek.
I don't even remember.
There's no earthly reason why she shouldn't. She's your wife, for heaven's sake. I think it was then that I started to feel like the other woman.
Oh, come on now.
It's true. You're her husband and I'm stealing you away.
Not stealing. Rescuing, if you want to find a word.
Call it what you like. It felt like stealing. Every time I looked at her, I thought...
Look, madam.
No, please, let me finish. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, and lots of people have called me lots of names, but... I've never really had an affair with a married man. Not really. Not like you. I don't expect bouquets, but it really feels dreadful.
Is this leading up to telling me that it's all good?
No. No, I'm not brave enough for that. I don't think I could tell you to go away. And there's no way we're going to make it any easier, is there?
I suppose not.
So let me be a coward, please. I really haven't got to see her again, have I?
Not if you don't want to.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but I just got caught by one of the residents in reception who asked me if I was going to a party.
Well, aren't you?
No, Paul, I am not, and that question has got corns on it. Now, I am dressed like this to receive the man you put me onto, Councillor Berry. Mind you, for all the good it did me, I may as well have dressed in a sack.
Silly man.
Anyway, Sergeant Halls has been on the phone. She wants to see you tomorrow morning sometime, but she knew you weren't on duty, so she'll ring again. So will you have a look at the roster and decide the best time?
For me to receive her?
For you to receive her.
Hey, how about a drink before you go?
I've just left one sitting on the bar. And if that is for me, tell whoever it is that I'm going to a party.
Crossroads?
The police. Is Mr. Pollard there?
I last saw him in the bar, vaguely looking as if he was going to the restaurant or perhaps out to dinner.
Is that Mr. Ross?
That's right. He's at Sergeant Hall's.
Yes. Would you give Mr. Pollard a message for me?
Yes, of course.
Well, he left a message at the station, but I was out, and it seems he wants to see me as soon as possible. Well, would you tell him that I could get there 10 o'clock?
Tonight?
Yes.
It's rather late, isn't it?
I have other things to do, I'm afraid.
And what about us?
Us?
Well, Mrs. Harvey told me that you wanted to see me tomorrow morning.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll telephone you about that tomorrow.
Stolen moments, that's what it boils down to.
No, not at all. Frank spent a lot of time here. I often spend time out in the evening, so there's no earthly reason why she should suspect.
Oh, sweetheart, there comes a time when you have to walk through that door and go home, and I have to sit here. I get panicky, Oliver. I really get frightened.
Why?
We other women have a habit of losing out.
What makes you think that?
I don't consciously. It just sort of creeps up on me.
Well, you're not to think that. Not ever, do you understand? And you are not going to lose out. I won't allow that. It'll probably take time, but as long as we know where we're going. I see you believe that.
All right.
In the meantime, we'll find other ways of seeing each other more often.
I don't see how.
Business trips.
Huh?
Abroad, even. Yeah, that's the answer.
But wouldn't she want to go?
Now, leave that to me. And what with that and my visits here, it shouldn't be too unbearable.
No. Only,
What?
I had a postcard from Di.
And?
Having a smashing time. Not a lot worn under the kilt. See Shuey McPhee in a new light. 1 month down, 2 to go. See you.
2 months?
Yeah.
I see. Well, that answers it, doesn't it?
Answers what?
We find somewhere else.
Just like that?
Yeah,
I don't run to that.
I do. Find a flat.
Landladies on the stairs and all that caper. I had that.
Buy, freehold, an investment for the future.
I don't think I like the sound of that.
How do you mean?
Smacks of being kept, don't you think?
Don't be absurd.
Absurd I may be, but I have a bit of pride.
It would be for us, both of us, our future home.
In the meantime, I live there. And when friends ask, how did you manage this? I shall have to say, well, there's this fella. Or be a liar. It's a super choice, isn't it?
You'll have let that go flat, Jill. Have another.
No, it's all right.
It's a shame to waste that pretty dress sitting around here. Why don't you come into town with us and we'll eat out?
I'd love to, but I'm on duty.
Duty? Duty. You make the place sound like a police station.
And yourself like Sergeant Halls.
Well, I think her duty days could soon be over. Sharon says she's handing in her resignation in order to look after her mother.
Resignation effective when?
End of the month, I think.
Oh, so that if she doesn't finish by then, we'll have another bit of fuzz creeping around at her place.
Hadn't thought of that. Oh, dear. Hope it's a man next time.
Still, I doubt if anyone at the station, herself included, is very concerned. A trivial matter is poison pen letters.
Still, she's been working at it. She phoned earlier this evening trying to nail Paul Ross for an interview tomorrow morning.
Did she say why?
No.
May I intrude for a moment? Sergeant Hall has just telephoned to say she can be here to see you at 10 o'clock this evening.
You too, J. Henry. Gosh, she's certainly sleuthing over time, isn't she?
Yes, J. Henry tonight, me tomorrow. Who next?
Who indeed? Certainly carries an air of chill about her, doesn't he? Well, darling, if you're to Meet the policewoman at 10. I don't think we're going to have time to eat out, are we?
No. Oh, Barbara, David. What do you have, the usuals?
Oh, got half frozen on the way back. The heater's on the blink. Brandy.
2 large brandies.
Yes. It's been pretty cold here, too, holding the fort.
Against what?
Oh, a counsellor with the most freezing glance I've ever seen this side of a snowman. J. Henry and I are still shivering.
Ah, yes, the feasibility, man. Did you cover Cropper? Never mind, I'll phone him tomorrow. Pour oil on the glacier.
Then throw a match on it.
What's this abominable snowman's name?
Berry.
Berry.
Norman Berry.
Oh. Berry? Stocky, 40-ish, pale blue blobs for eyes.
Yeah, never takes them off you.
Yes, I've certainly run into him.
Oh?
We had a stand-up fight over a special meeting, ratepayers meeting. Ugh, he's shut us some bloodless, and I really don't want to talk about him.
Well, we want you to. He is our problem.
Yes, he's your problem, or Jill's, or maybe even J. Henry's. But you can count me out. Oh, at last.
Got a bit tied up.
Which is getting to be a habit.
I mustn't complain if business is booming these days.
That's all very well.
Once this Langland Park business is over, we'll be pretty well set.
And then what?
Well, who knows? We'll see us nicely through to the autumn, and then I'll be started on something else.
Yes, but what for?
For?
Yes, what for?
Well, all this.
It's paid for.
What I mean is the way we live.
Oh, yes. The way we live. Don't you sometimes think it might be an idea to take an early retirement?
What on earth are you talking about?
Well, taking things easy.
Never heard of anything so absurd. I've just touched 50.
One reads so much these days of people leaving it till it's too late. If you sold up, how much would we be worth?
Haven't the foggiest idea.
Enough for us to live jolly well. We could travel a lot. I still fancy going to the Bahamas in spite of that Valerie.
Now you are having dreams.
Well, it's being left on my own so much. Do you want a drink?
Now, I'll see to it.
Oh, going to the Westbrooks on Saturday.
Must we?
Yes, we must. If we don't, Kitty will think I'm chickening out over that J. Henry fiasco, and I don't want that hanging over me, so we will go and face it out.
You having one?
No, thank you. I'm ready for bed.
Oh, why don't you go on up?
What?
To bed. I've got a couple of phone calls to make.
Honestly, you are the limit. What are you going to say to her?
You must never ask me that.
In view of what happened last time, I think this time I'd better sit in on it with you.
No, Val. I don't want you open to a charge of collusion.
Here she is. I'm going to come with you.
No.
Yes.
Look, if I'm to have any chance at all of succeeding, I must deal with this alone. Absolutely alone. Sergeant, thank you for being so punctual. We'll go in there, shall we? Your coat?
No, thank you.
And you'd rather not sit down?
No, thanks. I understand you have some information for me.
Yes, it is. It is that I'm extremely worried that you haven't dropped the case. Of course, I understand perfectly why you feel you can't, but I do believe that there is a compromise acceptable to both of us.
Now, I
hope you will forgive me if I remind you, Sergeant, that the other night you came home and found your mother on the floor, unable to move and in considerable pain. Pain that she had been suffering for years. Look, do please sit down. Now, I am going to forget that you're a police sergeant for a few moments. I'm going to think of you as Miss Halls. And it is as Miss Halls that you're going to listen to me. Listen and understand that it need no longer be necessary for your mother to go on suffering. No longer necessary at all. Just as it need be no longer necessary for you to resign from the force. Do you follow me?
Stop. Stop before you do it.
Do what?
Offer me a bribe. Now, whatever it is, it wouldn't be accepted.
I am not asking you to accept anything. What I'm offering is for your mother to accept. Would you make her refuse it? Compel her to refuse an operation, not in some year's time, but now, immediately? Ask her, Miss Halls, see if she'll refuse. Pass the burden of choice to her. Let her decide whether she wants more years of pain or no more pain at all. I can pay for the surgeon, but that's only money. The mercy that should be shown to your mother can come only from yourself. And you wouldn't have to resign from the force. You wouldn't have to care for your mother night and day. She could care for herself. Sergeant Halls could continue her investigation into this shabby, ridiculous little poison pen letter. But Miss Halls would see to it that Sergeant Halls never solved the case. And eventually it would be forgotten. And then nobody need suffer at all. Nobody at all. Telephone me, will you? Telephone me and let me know if you want me to engage a surgeon to operate on your mother next week. Or never.
Just the usual miserable journey back, thinking all sorts of things. Finally went right round King's Oak roundabout and headed straight back. No trouble, just the usual questions, but I'm used to those. What I find difficult to cope with is the longing to get back. I hate leaving you. Not for one awful moment earlier on, we're going to have our first row.
If we have a row, you'll know it all right.
I shudder at the thought.
Yeah.
But listen, what I said earlier on about the flat, give it some serious thought, will you?
Why don't we just leave it a couple of months, see what happens, huh?
I shall love you more, Sharon. That's what'll happen. What I don't want is for Di to come back and for us to have nowhere to be alone together.
Well, Di's pretty easy.
Yeah, but even so, it won't be the same, will it? No. I'll just have to work on you to convince you that everything we put together is for the future. Would I be in with a chance, do you think?
A slim one. But then you do have a way with you. Oh, I'm so glad you rang. I was just on my way out. Was it easy?
It's never that. But possible, thank goodness. Listen, I must go. I'll be pushing my luck to talk too long.
I'll see you tomorrow, then.
Seems like an age.
Me too.
Good night, then.
Hey. Couple of words more,
Love you.